everybody, this is Redius from Redius Reboots on Resonant Rise, and this is a tutorial on the basics of blood magic. I hadn't found one that really described in detail the beginnings of blood magic. There's a lot of stuff talking about the recipes that are around for it and things of that nature, but I wanted to do one that's kind of a blood magic for dummies, so that people who are just getting started out, well, they can go ahead and get started out. So without further ado, let's get started here. This is the basis for the entire mod, the blood altar itself. Okay, the blood altar is going to start basically everything that you do. Okay, the blood altar itself, let's go ahead and get one out here. Blood altar. This way you can see what it's made of. The recipe itself is fairly simple. It's a diamond, a couple of gold ingots, any stone, and furnace will get you that blood altar. Now, I've created one here for you guys, and we'll go ahead and get started with it. Right now, there's nothing in it. It's completely empty. In order to fill it, you got to put blood in there. And you do that starting usually with a sacrificial knife. And the sacrificial knife's crafting recipe is just glass, gold, and iron. Now, you take the knife, you right-click, ouch, you see it takes a heart away from you, and it puts blood in there. Do it a couple more times, you're basically increasing. You can see the pool of blood does expand a little bit. Watch carefully. You see it does move up just slightly as you go ahead and cut yourself a whole bunch. And this will put blood into the altar. Now you're wondering, how do you actually see what's in the altar? You can't really do much with it. It doesn't have a GUI. You can't do anything. What you actually need is a divination sigil. How to get a divination sigil? Well, that's easy enough. The recipe for it is a weak blood orb, blank slate, and glass. Well, we know what glass is. What's a blank slate and what's a weak blood orb? Easy enough to show both of those. Stone. Put a piece of stone into your altar, and you can see right there, those red things flying off into the nothingness indicates that it's doing work to this stone. Now, it takes some of the blood and it turns it from a stone into a blank slate. That's how we get our blank slate to start with, as far as getting towards the divination sigil. Now, the other thing we need is the weak blood orb. How do we get the weak blood orb? By the way, I'm going to go ahead and change this over so that I can spike myself without killing, and we don't have to wait for healing and things of those lines. So you take a diamond and you throw it in, and you wait just a minute, and it'll go ahead and do its thing here momentarily. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We don't need that right now. And we wait, and it takes, and it's pulling the blood out, and it's doing work, as the little guys will indicate. And it's going to go ahead and cycle through and do a few things. It takes a little bit for it to actually make this change. Now, you'll see I ran out of blood, and you'll see all of the bad stuff showing up now. So you got to refill in order to get it done. We didn't have enough blood in the blood altar. You could see it all went away, and instead of it being red things coming out, it was gray things coming out. That just means you've run out of blood, and it's time to put more in there in order to finish the transformation or ritual or whatever you happen to be doing. It just basically ran out of fuel. Just like a furnace runs out of coal over time, the blood altar, well, if you don't have enough blood in there, it can't do the work. So we always make sure that we got enough in there. Now, after enough time, the diamond goes away, and we get a weak blood orb. A weak blood orb, this functions like a storage battery. It enables you to, instead of just storing blood in an altar, instead of just storing blood in the altar, which is what we were doing as we stab, it allows you to move away, and you can do damage to yourself, just like we were with the knife, and it stores it into your blood network. Your blood network is what allows you to do all of the fun things in the mod. It's what allows things to happen for you. So you need to have a lot of blood in your blood network, and this lets you store it on the go. So now that we've done and we've figured out how to do these different things, we could put the 7 pieces of glass along with the blood orb and the blank slate together, and it gives us our divination sigil. If you click with the divination sigil, it will give you information about how things are going, as far as, by the way, this is going to stop right there. this will give you information about how your blood network is going. If you click with a right click directly on the altar itself, it will tell you how many life points are there, what's the tier of the altar, and the capacity, which is, in our case, 10,000 life points. LP is life points. Every time you stab yourself, bloop, let's go back and look at it now. Okay, we've put 200 more into our altar, so the base stab to yourself is 200 points. If we point it at someplace other than the altar, it will tell us what our current essence capacity is for the entire network. I've got some other altars built that we'll be visiting in a minute, which is why you see so much of it. The default size for the weak blood orb is 5,000. Now, if you do the next size up, which is the apprentice blood orb, and you get that by throwing an emerald into the blood altar and waiting for a while as it goes through and does its routine, you'll end up with an apprentice blood orb. And the apprentice blood orb moves the capacity from 5,000 life points, which is what you get with the weak orb, and it'll move it all the way up to 25,000 for the apprentice blood orb. Fair difference. It gives you a lot more freedom as far as what you can do with your blood. So we've kind of covered just the basics on how to get blood into the altar by stabbing yourself mostly. That's how you're going to do it at the beginning more often than not. There aren't really a whole lot of options, though. They will open up in the future once you upgrade your altar. As you noticed when we looked at this, it gave us altar's current tier of 1. Well, that indicates that it can be upgraded. How do you upgrade? Easy enough. What you need to do is you go and you get some of these blood runes, okay? Game mode 0. What these blood runes are, if you look at them here, here's a blood rune. The recipe is 2 of these blank slates, blood orb, and stone. And that's all you have to do in order to put it together. So you've got stone, blank slate, blood orb. We've already talked about how to make that. I'm not going to do it now. And you place them out. You need 8 of them around an altar, just like this. So you got 8. There doesn't have to be one underneath, but you need 8 there. And you'll notice if we click on this, it's an empty altar. There's nothing in it, but it's a current tier 2 altar. The reason that you upgrade your altars is because you can do more and more things with them. You can't actually do the emerald into apprentice orb thing in a tier 1 altar. It won't work. It just doesn't do anything. You need a tier 2 altar for it. And you also need a tier 2 altar to make this, the Dagger of Sacrifice. The Dagger of Sacrifice, let's take a look at it here. Oop, won't give me the recipe for it. That's okay. All it is it's an iron sword. And that's it. It's an iron sword, that you dump into the blood altar, and it takes 3,000 life points to change it over into this Dagger of Sacrifice. It also cannot be done in a tier 1 altar. It has to be done in a tier 2 altar, which is what we have here. So that's why upgrading your altars is important. You'll get more and more things that you can do with that altar as you upgrade it. Now, so we've got our tier 2 altar. Remember, originally we could stab ourselves, and that would give us blood in our blood altar. Just bloop. Okay, there's blood in our blood altar. Let's take a look at it now. 200 points. Yippee skippy. Or, now that we've got a tier 2 blood altar, we're going to spawn a cow right here. And then we're going to stab it. Now, you'll notice that it was a one-shot kill. This Dagger of Sacrifice will kill anything in one hit, provided it's within very close proximity, basically if it's standing on your blood runes. Now, you'll notice we went from 200 to 450. It actually adds quite a bit of blood for killing animals. The way it works is it's 250 life points for every animal, anything tiled animal, so pigs, cows, chickens, anything that another mod would add that's called an animal. Those are all worth 250. For monsters, zombies, skeletons, spiders, so on and so forth, those are worth 500 life points. So double the value of our friend the bovine, the recently deceased bovine there. Double that if you want to do zombies or something of that nature. Now, there is one other one, which is villagers. Villagers, if you sacrifice them, give you a whopping 2,000 life points. But there are consequences. It is built into the mod that very bad things have a chance of happening anytime you do a villager. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Unless you're really feeling saucy, you should probably stick to monsters and animals. So now we've covered how we can use other creatures to fuel our blood network. If we've got a cow spawner or if we've got a ranch that we're pulling animals in, you can fill up a blood altar using other means other than just your own blood. Okay. You can also enhance the abilities of this blood altar by changing out the basic blood rune, which we showed you earlier, and you can change it to all sorts of other different ones instead. Instead of just the blood rune, you can put on augmented capacity. This increases the amount of blood that can be held in your altar itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll just replace one now, and I'll show you what that does. Okay, seriously? Oh, fudge, I gotta change this back over. Game mode 1. So, smash that, put that there, okay? Now we look at our altar, and the capacity, oh, actually, the capacity goes back up by 2. Interesting. It's supposed to increase the size of the altar itself. So let's look at the rest of it too. There were other options out there for us. So let's look for rune. There is dislocation, there's orb, there's efficiency, sacrifice, and self-sacrifice. Sacrifice is probably the one that you're going to find most useful early game. Rune of Sacrifice. And the reason being, as you know, if we look at this now, there's 450 in there. We were getting 200 a tick when we stabbed ourselves. Stab. Now, it's not working. Normally that will increase by 10% for every one of these altars that's down there. I'm not sure if it's because I'm playing on an older build or what, but these runes of sacrifice will absolutely, or that's why, I remember why. Because I'm a derp, that's why. What I did was I showed you rune of sacrifice when what we needed was self-sacrifice. See, it pays to read. We put our self-sacrifice rune out there. Now we take a look at it. It's at 650. Step on, stab, and 8. Oh, fudge, it's still not working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong on that. My apologies. That apparently is not working properly. It really should be, though. Anyway, you get the idea on how that stuff works. This is an older build. It may not be, it's not the current one that's out with Resonant Rise, so your mileage may vary. Now, at the risk of this getting a little long, I'll go ahead and stop it here. This is just the basic version of how to get it started for yourself. You get the idea on blood runes, how to put the extra stuff in there, how to fill the blood altars, and this gives you your basic tools of the trade. This will let you get started on your blood network. I'll do a second tutorial later showing how to do spells out of the blood magic mod and getting a little deeper into what you can actually do with your blood network. But for now, Red out. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, please leave a like and subscribe if you feel the need. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.